In 1022, a Moslem Turkish tribe annexed North India and founded Lahore, the first Muslim Indian capital. Late in the 1100s, another Moslem chief conquered the plain of the Ganges River. In 1192, Muhammad of Ghor conquered Hindu hero Prithviraj and took possession of Delhi. He destroyed many Hindu temples in his path. His general Qutb-ud-Din Aibak was left in charge of Delhi. The Qutb Minar was built by Qutb to celebrate the Islamic victory over the last Hindu kingdom. Qutb and his builders used all the materials from the destroyed Hindu and Jain temples, and there were over 27 Hindu temples that were centuries old in this area. Some structural elements of these early Hindu temples remain near the minaret, and you can see the images of the Hindu gods and goddesses, and where their faces and bodies were smashed off the stone by the Moslems who rejected the images of the human body. When the minaret was being built from the stones from the temple, the builders even turned the stones backwards to disguise and obscure the images. The Mughal Empire was an Islamic imperial power which ruled most of the Indian subcontinent from the early 16th century to the mid-19th century. The Mughal emperors were of Turco-Mongol descent, but developed a highly sophisticated Indo-Persian culture. When Humayun, the second Mughal emperor, died, his widow built this magnificent tomb for him. This building is the first example of what's called Mughal architecture and was the inspiration for the Taj Mahal, which was built later. The Jama Mosque is the largest mosque in the entire Asia-Pacific region. It was commissioned by the Emperor Shah Jahan, completed in the year 1656, and took 8 years. The courtyard can hold 25,000 worshippers. Shah Jahan was known as the Builder Emperor, and he also built the Taj Mahal for his wife. India's economy has been growing at 8.8% a year for the last 5 years. However, the general rottenness of its infrastructure is long recognized as one of the likeliest constraints on their economy. For the past year or two, its ports, railways, and airports have been operating at close to or beyond capacity. It takes 21 days to clear import cargo in India versus Singapore takes 3 days. At the port in Mumbai, which handles 60% of India's traffic, it has berths for 9 cargo vessels, whereas Singapore's, by contrast, can handle 40. Air passengers have been growing at 30% a year in the past 2 years, and the creaking of its 4 main airports is almost audible. Its 3.3 million kilometer road network is the world's second biggest, but most of it's pitiful. An even bigger worry is India's shortage of power. Last year, peak demand outstripped supply by 15%. In Pune, which is an industrial town, businesses are cut off for 24 hours at a time. The computer services firms can put on their generators, but factories shut down. So according to the World Bank, 9% of potential industrial output in India is lost to power cuts. Some 600 million have no access to main power, and over 35% of India's power is actually stolen. Another thing, of course, is the sewage. Only 13% of the sewage that India's 1.1 billion people produce is treated. And an estimated 700 million Indians have no access to a proper toilet. Waterborne diseases caused by poor sanitation are a big reason why India's children are so malnourished. At least almost all Indian children go to school, but the quality of education is appalling. Half of 10-year-olds can't read according to the basic standard expected of a 6-year-old, and over 60% can't do simple division. One reason, according to the World Bank, is that only half of Indian teachers show up to work, and half of Indian children leave school by the age of 14. Despite all of these difficulties, sustained high economic growth is the answer. And so long as this happens, India's emergence will continue. It may not come as quickly as Indians want, according to The Economist magazine, but it will be relentless. It will be exhilarating and frustrating to watch. There is no country more remarkable than India.
ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਾਵਣ ਓਏ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਾਵਣ ਨੱਚ ਨੱਚ ਕੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੀਤ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਗਾਵਣ ਨੱਚ ਨੱਚ ਕੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਗੀਤ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਗਾਵਣ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਉਹ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਅੱਗ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਉਹ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਅੱਗ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਉਹ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਗੱਲ ਬਣ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਅੱਗ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਉਹ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਅੱਗ ਲੜ ਗਈ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਪੈਦਲ ਜਾਵਣ